Hey friends, Cherie here. Welcome back to the channel, Cherie's Alchemy Shop. Today I'm here to share a very quick little project with you all for Vlogmas Day 8. We are going to do a little bit of a pattern review, all right? In today's video, I'm actually going to make like a little duster using this gorgeous cotton voile. This is a really gorgeous weight of fabric to use for blouses and things like that as well. And so you can see it's a very lightweight print, and I'm picking this particular print to make the duster because whenever I make things where the inside of the fabric shows, with the quilters cottons, a lot of times, right, that inner side is white because it's printed on the pattern is printed on the front of the fabric. But because of the weight and the way the printing is done on the cotton walls, you don't have that plain white background. So these become, to me, great candidates to use for dusters and things like that. Will fly open and you'll see the interior. So I'm going to be using a sewing pattern to whip this up, and then I'm going to give a review. So stay tuned. I just want to pop in and show you real quick too. I forgot to mention, this is another reason why I like to use the cotton walls or the cotton lawns for apparel items, because of the width of the fabric. So this fabric is about 56 inches wide. And so a lot of times when you're working with apparel pieces, especially something like this, this is a duster that has a grown-on sleeve, meaning the sleeve is attached. The sleeve portion is directly attached to the body of the pattern. And so that creates a really wide pattern piece. And so you can see here, this pattern piece fits on this fabric with no issues. Whereas if this was a regular 44-inch wide quilter's cotton, the pattern piece wouldn't fit and you'd need to use almost twice as much fabric. And so, yeah, it's just a lot easier to make things like this when the fabric is already wide enough to fit your pattern piece. But anyway, I'm going to get to cutting and sewing, and I'll be back with a review of this pattern. All right, friends. So this little project is complete now. Let me show you the pattern that I used, and we'll talk through this new garment. So I just whipped up this very quick and easy little duster or jacket using Simplicity 1318. This is something I've had, in my little pile to make for a while. So this was like my little tester for this pattern. It turned out really, really cute using this cotton voile fabric or cotton lawn. Definitely going to be making more of these. I have some slight variations that I want to do of this as well. So yeah, you're going to see this again on this channel or on my personal sewing channel for sure. But this is definitely a very quick and easy pattern, perfect for this weight of fabric. Let's just have a quick look at the front here. You see is showing you basically 4 different views. There's basically variation in the lengths as well as in that little band that goes around the front. So I made view D here, where I have this kind of, it's supposed to be a contrast band, but I used the same fabric because, again, I was just kind of testing this pattern out, see if it's something I want to make more of, and it worked out fine. But it's definitely, it would be certainly, more interesting if I had used like a contrast band here, but not necessary. So anyway, if we look at the back of this pattern, again, you can see what the back looks like. And see, that's one thing I didn't like. I don't like to have kind of unnecessary seams down the back of my garments. And I feel like that seam really isn't that necessary. So that's one thing I want to change. With this kind of all over print, it kind of camouflage, and you'll see in the end when I show the videos and the pictures. But imagine that this is like a big, bold print, and you basically just be cutting down the middle of, say, a flower or something, and then when you line it back up, right, it's not going to match. And visually, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to disturb the pattern for the eye, right? I don't like that. And so some patterns, you need it for the shaping and stuff like that. I feel like I can redraft this back and not need to put that seam down. So that's what I'm going to try before I make this again. Otherwise, everything else was very straightforward. So anyway, let's look here at the suggested fabrics. It's basically saying silky, lightweight woven fabrics with drape, such as batiks, which batiks don't typically have a ton of drape. They can be kind of stiff sometimes. Chamois, that would be beautiful, very flowing. Cotton types, that's what I used here, the lawn. Crepe de chine, double georgette, linen types, silky types. And then for view C, also in border printed fabrics. So you see here, that's what is shown here. And yes, border prints would be really pretty. I like that one. I might make that one too. And then any other suggestions? Extra fabric needed to match plaids, stripes, or one-way designs. So remember that also. And then here, let's see, thread, and then look for simplicity trims, because some of them have you adding like lace to the front. I think view A is one where it demonstrates you adding lace to those bands, which could be really pretty. And then let's get in here and look at the size range. This pattern goes from a size extra, extra small or 4 up to an extra, extra large or 26. And then if you look at the bust measurements here, that size 4 is a bust of 29.5 and a waist of 22. And then for the largest size, the 26, that bust is 48 inches and the waist is 41.5 inches. And let's see here, does it show? It does show finished garment measurements, so it includes the design and wearable ease. Use those measurements also to help you decide the size you need to make, as well as if you need to shorten or lengthen any of the pattern pieces if you're petite or, you know, on the taller size. And then, yeah, if we get in here and look at fabric consumption, so you're going to need anywhere from 1 1/8 yards if you're using 60-inch wide fabric for the smallest size of view A, all the way up to, it looks like the largest quantity I see on here is about 3 7/8, so just under 4 yards. And that's if you're making view C with, you know, a border print, because you have to cut across the cross-wide grain if you're doing that typically. And so you're going to need more fabric for that. So view C is the most fabric consuming. And so even for the smaller size, you're going to need 3 1/4 yards. And so, yeah, just keep that in mind. And so what else? Oh, let's look at a quick scan of the directions, because again, it's not a tutorial, just a quick review, but I think this could be helpful in helping you decide if, you know, you have the skills to make this, if this is something, a pattern you might want to search for, and give it a whirl. Here are the pattern pieces. Here are the line drawings rather. And then here's the list of the pattern pieces. You basically have your front and your back. And then for some of them, for views A and B, you have A, B, and C actually. I think you have separate sleeves. I did view D, which had the raglan sleeve, so I didn't have any extra pattern pieces for my sleeve. And then you're going to get into your facing pieces, and that's just going to depend on which version you make. So I used, I think 5 pattern pieces to make view D. Came together really quickly. Now, the only reason why I wouldn't say this is not like, you know, a first-time beginner pattern is because you are sewing curves. You're cutting out curves. That's the only kind of thing I think could trip you up a little bit. But otherwise, this really is straightforward sewing. You just need to, you know, if you don't have a lot of experience sewing on those curves, adding on facings, you just need to go slowly really well. But you can see it's not a lot of steps involved in sewing this together. So here's what I mean, right? You have some curvature here in step 7, sewing that facing on because it's curved around the neckline. And then for me also, it was curved around the hemline. And then I had to go in and do my stitching, the top stitching also, you know, with the fold under curves. And so again, your iron, your basting stitches, whether you baste with a needle and thread or if you baste on your machine with a basting stitch, pins, clips, whatever you need. Just take your time. It's very, very doable. Here's just a quick look of, you know, what my jacket looks like. Again, it's a casual item for me, so I just serged it. You know, if I was making this in like a more luxurious fabric, like an embroidered lace or something, I probably would have done like French seaming or some kind of covered seam instead of the serging. But yeah, for casual things, I just used my serger. And then you can see here, the facing and the top. So yeah, it just has a turned under hem on this side, and then I just did my top stitching, and that kept everything together so you don't have any exposed seams there. Yeah, and then your raglan sleeve area is also serged over. And then for the sleeve hem, I just did a simple double turnover hem. You could also just serge that and do a single turn up as well. I like the double turn under, you know, just a little bit neater finish there, because, you know, depending on the angle, you could possibly see the underside of that sleeve. And so that's why I did that. And then the bonus project here is I just had a little, you know, section of fabric, and I always see rectangles when I have these little like odd leftover pieces. And when possible, especially, you know, with the right things, I like to turn them into little scarves. I'm a scarf girl. And so that's what I did here. I just made a quick, simple circle scarf, literally just with the, you know, I just, you know, straight edged 90-degree out that scrap to make a big rectangle and made this little scarf. And if you've never made a circle scarf or infinity scarf, I will link to the video that I did, the video tutorial where I showed you step by step how to do this. Very quick and easy, great way to use up your scraps, wonderful little gifts. And for me, you know, I live in a colder climate. Even in the house sometimes, I put a scarf on till the hot flash hits and then I have to take it off. But yeah, that is it. So I'm going to end today. Sorry I wasn't on camera today. I have threads all over the place because I've been sewing up my orders for my handmade shop, but I had forgotten I needed to get in here and finish up recording this for Vlogmas so I can get edited and uploaded for y'all. But I'll see y'all tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 9. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm definitely on camera for that recording. All right, so I'll see y'all. All right, take good care. Enjoy the pictures and videos. Oh, and just a reminder, this is Simplicity 1318. And let me just check the copyright on this, the date, if you are interested in 2014. So the copyright on this is 2014, 11 years old. If you're interested in it, hopefully you can find it. And if not, I'm sure there's some things out there very similar that, you know, will come together. But this is just a nice little wardrobe staple, y'all. And will sew up so beautifully in Quilters Cottons. All right, I'll see y'all. Bye.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we wait.